Did you see this? Have you seen this? The period 1 and period 2, the S4, the subject 4 was missing for the period 2. Okay, so you can see here S1, S2, S4 is missing. 1 second, I'll just show you. So you see S1, S1, S2, S2, but S4 is we have only one. It doesn't have period 2 information because the subject was discontinued after the period 1. He came for only for the period 1, and after he didn't come. He didn't finish. He didn't come for the period 2. So whatever the period 1 date will be the end date for this particular subject. Okay. So as I mentioned, whatever the last treatment, that is the reference end date for that particular. For example, here the S1 has RF XDTC and S1 has RF ENDTC. Where S4 he just have RF STDTC, but he doesn't have the period 2. So that particular subject will have the same end date. Okay, the same end date. So it's going to be RF ENDTC and RF STDTC for the S4 will be the same. So we have to represent as a programmatically. Okay. You understand, right?
Yeah. Where is subject 3 then? Subject 3 is completely gone.
Probably is not included in the study. Maybe we don't know, because you see most of the subject have double values S7, S8, but only for the S4 we have only one. Because since we have a 48 subjects only, so you can easily see it. But when you have a multiple, so for that reason you just make it to some filtration here. Maybe subject ID equal to, yeah, you can check. Okay, so he has only period 1, this particular subject. So we're gonna have, we will be keeping the same date for his RF ENDTC. Okay, so we're going to match beta so DM x3, so match x1 A. You know about in operators, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Subject in the base as we will have this one-to-one match, one-to-many match. So if ART, okay, so I can show you how it looks like. Okay, so you can see here there is a 2 subjects S4. S4 has the starting value but is missing value, and even for the 10 also the same thing. Okay, so you can see the treatment, the initial, the period in the period 1 he has a reference, and the period 2 has a test. Okay, but particularly the S10 subject, he has the initial with test, because this study is a crossover. So if he has a reference, and the next time he will be having the test. If he has a test, and the next time he's going to have the reference. So he has a test in the period 1, but the period 2 is missing for him. So that's why is RFX and is missing here for these two subjects. So we don't keep it as it is. We just make it the same RFX GDC for this particular subject, okay, which is the end date for this particular subject. So how are we gonna write it? So we just keep it as,
if RX and DT is equal to dot, then
yes,
RX and DT is equal to RF X DT.
Yeah, this is in a character format, so we keep it as this. Then RF X ENDTC equal to
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this one and check. So we can have the same thing. See, for this subject and this subject. Okay, so we have this x3 and we're going to combine with the DM. Okay. How do you combine? So the same thing, rock start beta equal to x3. So we have Unix subject ID already there. So Unix subject ID. So DM2. So Unix subject ID. Okay, so data DM3 match DM2. Okay, x3. Okay, my Unix subject ID. Okay. So like this, we're combining this data set to this data set. If you put A operators, all the observation, whatever the observation present in the DM2 is going to come initially, okay? Okay, so we have 48 here and 47. So in the DM3 will be 48 because we put if equal to A, okay? So we have DM3 there. So we will have every information there. So TRT and TRT1 and RFX DTC, RFX and DTC. And this value is missing. So that why there is only one, where is the other one? Yeah, here. But why this one is missing? One second.
Oh, top one. Yeah.
So S3
Oh, there is
subject
something that
ID
is S3. Okay.
in screening.
Yeah, because in exposure we did not have subject 3 at all, but in the first data set
Yeah.
we have S3.
Yes, in the DM data set you will have, yeah, probably that's the reason. So he's just in the screening phase only. So he didn't get in the treatment phase. So that's why the visit is as screening. He didn't put any period 1 or period 2. Okay, that's good. So like this, you can make it filtration. Okay, you can understand why that is missing. So that is a good practice.
Okay, Ali, basically now because we have only, I mean, phase 1 and phase 2, because we have only 40 subjects or 100 subjects. We can look the data sets and we know exactly where
Yes.
where something is missing. But say we have 1,000, like
Yeah, and that time you use programmatically. You can use programmatically. So you just put like if this one and if it is missing, so you just
okay,
execute and you
yeah, but basically we have to see the data set to find, or we have to see in the log window. Uh,
well
like
the particularly from my knowledge, we don't do anything if you have a missing, because you're not the one to decide, okay? Because whatever the raw data you got it, so you have to represent as it is. So you don't need to go and dig why this one is missing, why this one is not there. Because as long as you programmatically, if you don't see any kind of errors here, so you don't need to worry about anything.
Okay.
Okay. Because the CDM people, if you after when you go to the atom levels, then you have to do some kind of analysis, right? So on that time, you have to think about why this particular record is missing. So on that time, you have to raise the query and inquire about for the CDM or your lead programmer. And what do you have to do in this case? Like you have to do some kind of imputations, or so they will decide. This is not your job. So your job is just need to do some programming. And if you don't see any kind of errors, which is good.
Okay.
All right. So we have another raw data set, which is R&D. Okay. So this is a raw data set, and here you see DP and MP. Okay. So ARM DP, which is the planned one. So actually this raw data set is taken from the protocol. Okay. So this is a planned one. Okay, this is not the actual one. So we need to map the variables we have here, planned ARM code and planned ARM. So we need to map this one. So for that reason, we need to combine this R&D with our data set. Okay. So data. Okay. DM4. Okay. So so we need to combine, right? So we need to match with the okay. So before that, we need to sort data.
But in R&D, like, do we have sub-G ID? Like, what is the common variable?
Yeah, that's a good question. So here we have subject ID. Okay.
So we have to connect by subject ID. Okay. DM3 we have subject ID.
Yeah, so we have subject. We can combine with this too. Okay.
I mean, we need to okay, sort.
Sorry?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, like this. Image. Okay, so em3. So in equal to A and D. Sorry. My subject ID. And we consider as the DM3, which is the primary data set. So we need to take all the way, whatever the observation we have, we have to get that one. Okay. So we have 48 observations and 44 variables. And one more thing, these nodes are also very important. You always have to check when you execute, like when you run that program, when you check this one, how many variables and how many observations are coming. So that is also very, sometimes what happen, you looks like this, but you will have like, 0 observations. On that time you have to check. If you go further and continue, and you may face errors at the end. So always check these nodes also.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes the variables are not being initialized. So on the time you will have 0 observations. Okay, so we got our R&D here in the DM4. So the DM4, we have ARM DP and those things. So we have our planned ones. So we just directly map with this one, okay? So, okay, so data. I'll go for one more thing. So you can do everything in the like, you know, one step by step, like how you creating it's up to you. How many data set you will be creating is up to you. There is no, so you're the programmer, you have a choice. Okay, some program, what they do everything in the same data set. But when you divide it like this, it's gonna look good. And when you have any kind of error at the end, you will find out easily, even if you're sending for the validation.
Yeah.
So if they found some errors, so for you it's gonna be easy to track if you're dividing like step by step. So some programmers, they do everything in the one data set and they put run at the end. So which is, it's up to you how you want it. So DM4. So ARM CD and ARM. So this is ARM CD, which is in the character format, and this is a required variable. Okay, so we directly map with our planned one. I guess this is already in the character, so we don't need to change anything. So this is already in the character. So what is the difference between the DP and MP? So this is a shortcut and this is a description part. Okay, R means ref, T means test. That's the only difference. So, okay. So we have done these two variables also, and we have two more. So we next these three. So this is actual treatment, and this is actual treatment code, and this is actual okay. So there is a difference. Here is a code, basically CD. So the planned arm code. Okay, the description of the planned arm. Okay, that's good. So if you see the CD here, which is the code. So in the DM4, this is in a code format, right? So this is the description. So the same thing with the actual treatment. This is in the code format and this is in the description. So we need to do derive that one, okay? And how do you get the actual one? So in the R&D, we combine, right? No, not in R&D, sorry. In the exposure data set. So here, the actual treatment, we get it from exposure data set, and the planned one, you get it from R&D, okay? In the real time, they will ask you where you get the actual treatment. You should say like exposure data set. Okay, so if so, gonna make it in condition, like you remember we took some treatment related information, right? So this one. Treatment equal to so this one. So left and it's for the period 2. Treatment equal to yes, and 2. Okay, so atom code equal to, so we give this value. if the first period is reference, we give as R. If the second period as a test, we give as T. Okay, that is in the code format. And arc term.
Else do, we don't put else do.
I kept here is then do, right? Then do option. So,
Okay.
so that you can put whatever the variable you want to derive, and at the end you put end statement.
Okay.
It's gonna finish. Okay, and now so now we're going to do reverse because this is a crossover study. So we're going to do reverse. If it is first period is test, second period is reference, and this one goes R. Sorry, P. This one goes R. Okay. Like that. So like that, you can derive your actual arms and actual description part of it. Okay. So these two are completed too. So we have one more thing, which is a required variable, which is a country. Obviously, the country will be the India because this one done in. So I think is this study was done in India, so you can check in from the protocol also. For your confirmation. Okay, so yeah, in India. Country file submission is USA, but the actual the study was going on in India, so we're gonna keep it as IND. But as per the control terminology, we're gonna check. But you have to check how it looks like, because so it says country. Okay, so IND in the submission also we have to keep it as IND. So we just keep it as simply you put like IND. That's it. And okay, so 48 observation and 49 variables. So this variable already, so we finish. So the remaining ones are permissible variables. If you have that information, it's okay. If you don't have that information, we don't need to consider. Okay, let's check if you have DMDTC. Check in CRF. The collection, okay, the study day of collection. So we are not doing anything this one, right? The collection date we don't have in the raw data set. Even in the case report form, we don't have it. So since we don't have this information, we just keep it as it is because it's a permissible variable, so we don't need to keep it. Even sometimes what happen in the real time also, they will fade off like this. So for that reason, you will be okay. You don't need to include because this is permissible variables. Okay, so we have completed the DM1 and we're going to do some attributions. Okay. So we're going to keep only the required variables, whatever the variables we needed. So we get all this. Okay. Okay, so total 24 variables. Okay. So those are the required variable for this DM data set. Okay, so now we're going to do some attributes, because I remember the first time when I told you, right, we have to create the label, we have to mention the characters, we have to mention the length. The character we already converted, so we don't need to do anything, and we need to check keeping the length as per this specification. Okay. So how do we do that one? We're going to use the proc SQL. So line attributes. And this is very important. And when you finish all the variables, okay, so you have to apply the attributes. And this is mandatory for every data set. Okay. So the proc SQL, no print. So create table. I put as final as select. Okay, so you select this one. Study ID. And we put the label. So we put the label and length. And 48. Because this is in the character, right? So need so things like that. Okay. When you go for the next variable,
Ali,
yeah.
Why do we don't? It's not necessary that we have to use proc SQL for giving attributes, right? We can use bases also, right?
Which one?
Like for giving the attributes, we can use bases also, right?
Yeah, you can use the base as also, but this is much easier than, I think. Well, we follow mostly like this. With, for my knowledge, I use this one like that.
Yeah, because
Okay,
anyway,
so
even in proc SQL, we are writing. We are writing every variable name,
yes,
length,
yes, you have to
and
write
even in
it down
bases,
like
we do
this.
the same, right?
So I simply do like I just copied everything here like that in the Excel sheet.
Okay.
Okay. So I take everything. So how would I take this one? So I just copy it like this.
Okay.
Then I paste it here.
Oh,
Then I
okay.
put I leave one column for the apostrophes.
Hmm.
I put the label and I put length like this, and all the length I took it like directly like that.
Okay.
So I know it's very it's a huge thing, but if you do like this, it's gonna be easier.
No, even this is, this is good too, but I'm just asking, we can do in bases also, right? It's not that
Well, if you see some other thing, some other way, yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
It's not been shared. It's up to you how you want it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So um, which is the replace one. Yeah. Okay. Control H. Okay. Like that is gonna work. So you copy and that's it like that. Since we already have this one,
There is no comma.
yeah, I saw it. Maybe I missed it here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
maybe
forgot
not
to.
select that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we just keep as it is. So is the ethnic is there? Don't need ethnic. And these are the permissible variables, so we don't need DMDTC and DMDY. But the GTC. And the investigator ID name, how much is it? So I don't have the information, so I can keep it as 4. Maybe 9. It's up to you. Okay. So once it's done, so you can take it from DM5. Okay, so I don't have stopped processing this step because of errors. H. What happened with H? I missed the comma here, maybe. Okay, so we have final data set. Now you can see in the labels, column labels, so you can change this one, everything else. See, the labels are allotted. And if you want in the variable names, so you can get the variable names. And if you want to check the length, so 50 for, sorry, 50 for unique subject ID. That is the one we allotted, right? Okay, so the 50. So the finally, once we finish this one, we have to send to the SDTM dataset. So in the real time, what happened? We have a macro, standard macros, and when you run the links in the initial, everything will go on the same folders. So you don't need to do this step. So for the practice purpose, I'm just